neither the United States of America nor the world community of nations can tolerate deliberate deception and offensive threats on the part of any nation.
I will make you understand.
Hey everybody, I'm Tony Jones, and welcome to the Tony Jones Show.
It's not enough. People are willing to take the risk. It's sort of a herd mentality, a lemming-like mentality. If you don't go with the flow, you're anti-American and therefore a suspect.
The Tony Jones Show, featuring punk, rockabilly, psychobilly, and Providence, Rhode Island's finest, starts right now.
He's a dangerous militia member, I hear. Oh, and there she blows.
Friends, the time for mediocrity and broadcasting is over. My name is Tony Jones, and you are listening to The Tony Jones Show, your destination for talk and rock. As always, thank you for tuning in as we broadcast over the air, online, via the interwebs, and, of course, on iTunes. Thank you all for checking us out. TonyJones.org is my website, Facebook.com/Tony Jones Show, on Twitter @TonyJonesNRI. Check in there throughout the program and check out there with frequency. Big show coming up this evening. We're going to have some live in-studio music. There's a big... You know we love the charities here on the Tony Jones Show. There is a big charitable event going on soon that I want you all to know about. But before we get to these fine young gentlemen in studio with me, I just want to mention real quick, we will be giving away a pair of tickets to see Anna Nylek at Manchester 65. It's happening Friday, March 14th. A lot of people out there be loving some Anna Nylek. Satellites Fall opening up, so I'm going to make it easy. What you have to do is go to Facebook.com/Tony Jones Show. So go on over to the Tony Jones Show Facebook page. What I want you to do is I want you to share the page. Send me proof that you shared the page along with your mailing address, and you have won yourself. The first person to do it has won themselves a pair of tickets to see Anna Nylek at Manchester 65 in lovely, scenic, downtown West Warwick, Rhode Island. So once again, Facebook.com/Tony Jones Show. Share the page. Send me proof that you shared the page with your mailing address. The first person to do it is the winner. So I need your address. I'm going to send you the tickets via postage mails. The first person is the winner. So that's why you should listen. I'm very happy. I'm very excited. I'm very proud of our large podcast audience here on the show. People download the show all across the country, and they listen to it at their leisure. However, when you take the time to catch the live show, you have opportunities to, first of all, hear me screw up. And second of all, you have the opportunity to win things. So that's why you should listen to the live show each and every week. Very excited about our in-studio guests. We do have Ed's here. Ed McGuirl's here. Ed, thank you for coming down.
Thank you for inviting us.
And we have Steve Maciel here. He is the top dog over at One of 52, which is a great local group. And the reason, we talked about this before in the past, but the reason that I love the food bank is because, and not to toot my own horn, and you guys all know I've talked about on the air, I spend my day after Thanksgiving severely hungover and working at a local soup kitchen. And what I've seen over the past few years is, years and years ago, it would be the people coming in who you would identify as quote-unquote homeless. The guys come in, they look like Charlie Manson. You know who I'm talking about. The past few years, what I've seen coming through the soup kitchen is, quote, regular guys, regular families, people that you probably could have worked with, that you know that are on your block over the past few years. So it is vital to kind of get things moving on this. So, Steve, give us a little info about what you have going on as far as your group.
Well, first, Tony, great to meet you. Thanks for having us here today. And actually, I did not know that. I didn't know you give up your day after Thanksgiving volunteering at a soup kitchen, so that's excellent. Thank you so much for doing that. And yeah, you're right. The face of hunger and the face of homelessness has really changed, because now we're really talking about the working poor, people that now sometimes there's two people working in the family, but they just can't make ends meet. By the time you get done paying the rent, the electric, all the bills, there's not a whole lot of money left over for food. And we have to kind of turn that whole paradigm around.
It has increasingly also, unfortunately, there's been a lot of elderly people. So your grandmother, your grandfather, they've been utilizing these services such as soup kitchens and the food bank and all of those things. So it really there's a huge paradigm shift. And I don't think that your average Joe that's not in the know, just trying to maybe himself trying to keep things going, hasn't really seen firsthand how it has affected a complete different demographic over the past few years.
Yeah, you're right. And you're right, we are a great local organization. We started in Rhode Island. Although we have gone national. We now have one of 52 chapters started in 22 states. And the vision is that eventually all 50 states will have this core network of 52, all working toward the same goal of ending hunger in America. And the significance of the 52 is there's 52 weeks of the year. So we go out and we match people up with each week, people who agree to take action in that 1 week of the year to help end hunger. and it's very much oriented around music and the arts. And we really kind of expanded the scope of it so people from all walks of life can participate. And it's really about whatever your unique talent is. Everybody has a unique talent. Whether you sing or dance or do art or bake a mean chocolate chip cookie, you use that talent in some way to help make a difference.
And that you started that all here in Rhode Island?
Yep, we started in Rhode Island. I grew up, in bands and music, and observed all the great concerts. Right from the George Harrison Bangladesh concerts all the way up through Live Aid, and always wondered, what can I do to make a difference? And I knew that I may never have the resources to do a concert of that magnitude. B, really, why would I? Because they already have done it so well. Yeah. Why would I replicate it? So C, I thought, well, what can I do? So I thought, well, why don't we have something that's more ongoing and something more representative of every week of the year and people taking action in all walks of life. So hence the concept of the 1 of 52 Hunger Network came forward. And it's going great. We actually have more than 52 weeks of the year assigned in Rhode Island. And what we'll do now is once we reach that tipping point in any state, we'll start breaking it out into the towns. If we reach the tipping point of 52 in a town, then we'll break it out into the community, and then we'll take it right down into the neighborhoods if we have to.
That is fantastic. We're going to have more about the organization. We're going to have more about the big show coming up at the Courthouse Center of the Performing Arts. This perfectly dovetails into the first song I have queued up. I didn't do it on purpose, but it just so happened this way. This is a great band by the name of Damone. Unfortunately, I believe Damone is now defunct. But this is Damone, and this is their song. It's called Now Is the Time.
grandma, she could make a soup with a little this and that. She could feed the whole sloop group with a little this and that. Stone soup, you know the story. A stone soup, who needs the glory? But with grandma's cooking, ain't no need to worry, just a little this and that. Grandma likes to make a garden grow with a little this and that. And she likes to have the ground just so with a little this and that. Now not too loose and not too firm in the spring. It's all got to be turned in the fall. Lots of compost to feed the worms with a little this and that. Now grandma knows we could build the future with a little this and that. This and that. And a little argument never gonna hurt you with a little this and that. This and that. True, this world's in a hell of a fix. Some say oil and water don't mix, but they don't know a salad makes tricks with a little this and that. This and that. The world to come, maybe like a song with a little this and that. This and that. To make everybody want to sing along with a little this and that. This and that. A little dissonance, it ain't no sin. A little skylark in to give us a grin. Who knows, but God has a plan for the people to win with a little this and that. This and that.
The Tony Jones Show continues. Facebook.com/Tony Jones Show. TonyJones.org is my website. I just want to mention, I have to mention, I'd be remiss if I didn't mention, we kicked things off with Mark Cutler this evening, off of the album Red Doc Primus's Ghost. After that, or when we brought you into the music last, you heard from Damone. Now is the Time, the name of that track, the unfortunately defunct Damone. And you just heard from Ed McGuirl, who is in studio with me. So instead of me sloppily describing what you just heard, I will ask the man himself to describe. Let us know what we just heard.
What we just heard was a cover I did of a Pete Seeger tune. Pete donated a song to the Time Is Now, the one of 52 Artist Hunger Network produced CD that we did, the compilation CD that we did in 2000, and we still have some, so please, if you see him around. At any rate, I had the good fortune in the late 90s to do a gig down in Beacon, New York with and Pete Seeger was there, and he's always just been such a phenomenal political activist and just a great guy all the way around. Rightfully we're seeing a lot of tributes to him of late at Sandy Woods, and I believe they're doing something at Nick and E's with Mark Cutler. And, so that song I did that CD about 2003. It was after I met Pete, and a week later after I met him, I had given him a card, and he sent me he signed an autobiographical songbook, and it just showed up in my mailbox, which was amazing, but just indicative of the kind of person that Pete was, who was just a regular guy that just very committed to things that people need, just the same as what we're hoping to accomplish next week with our concert.
You know, it's a relief and it's very exciting. I was just talking to someone the other week that lately, with music and with radio and with everything, it's been a good long time since I've met a real jerk. It seems like everybody's really cool lately. You know?
I love it.
You hear all these horror stories about, I want a martini glass with only red M&Ms, and if there's a blue one in there, they freak out, you know? But, yeah, I mean, it's really great. I mean, everybody has just has been fantastic lately. I think that maybe is a sign of the times, you know, that maybe that ties into what we're talking about tonight and how everybody's feeling as far as of the condition of the world. You know, it's just everybody has kind of taken a step back and thought about karma and maybe just being a bit more cool.
Well, I think there are enough narcissists in the world that it's real nice that people are getting a little bit more right-sized and looking around and seeing how many people actually are in need. And you know, the unfortunate part of this is that we still have to keep doing it.
Yeah.
You know, that's the flip side.
So, Ed, if anybody out there in my audience is hearing your name for the first time, kind of give them the description, give them your bio of how you got started in music and how you got involved with the compilation and playing the show.
Wow.
And remember, it's only an hour program.
Well, originally I'm a South Providence boy, and my mom was a jazz pianist, and so I grew up listening to a lot of jazz greats, especially she really loved the black performers like Eartha Kitt, Nat King Cole, and things like that. And then I get the folk bug. I started playing bass and was playing with a jazz trio. Then get hired to do backup for a folk band, and started doing a lot more folk music. From 77 to 87, I then played with a Celtic band called the Greencastle Band. Then got back into folk music, and I met Steve right around the late 90s, and I was playing and still do play with my longtime partner, Friday night host of the Bluegrass Breakdown on WRIU 90.3 in Kingston, Mr. Michael Fishman.
Probably one of the few shows around other than the Tony Jones Show playing decent music.
Right, yeah, exactly. Other than this show, you know, and I can only, and if he wasn't my partner, I wouldn't even say it. But we have actually been
big
playing together
for
Fishman,
about
25 years.
Wow.
And then Steve said he was putting this thing together, so I sent him a tape of a song, the White Shirts, Hungry Children, that I had written, and I was working with a woman who was in a gospel choir in Newport, in the Community Baptist Church in Newport, and I had this idea. The way I wanted to produce it was I wanted to have a backup chorus, so to speak. Mm-hmm. And I asked her if she'd be interested. So I met her at the church over in Newport after their choir practice one morning, and I showed them the song and the word, and she introduced me to the choir leader, and I played him a quick thing of the song, showed him the words, and the choir leader looked at the lyrics, and she looked at me and she said, "Did you write this?" I said, "Well, yes, I did." And she said, "You're gonna piss some people off." I smiled and I said, "Well, I certainly hope so." And from that point on, I had five choir singers to work with, and then we just made some studio time and worked on it, And
well, the compilation, it was the right thing at the right time because you had this tune, which I immediately decided was going to be the lead track.
Right, and everything worked out.
Some of the other songs were actually written for the project, so we had a really good mix of songs that didn't have a home, like Johnny Fuzak's song he had written quite a few years ago, never really had a home for it. And then the title track, The Time Is Now, just fell together instantly when we came up with the idea for the compilation. So it was just sweet how it came on down. And we had songs that already existed that didn't have a home, and then we inspired people to actually write songs kind of almost on the spot for the CD.
Just, everything worked out perfectly. It was just a great project.
As the old cartoon saying goes, I love when a plan comes together.
Yeah, this is like the epitome of that.
Yeah, absolutely was. And much credit to Steve over here, who just pulled that whole thing together. Well, everybody, once Steve came up with the idea, everybody just bought into it. It was great.
Which is a tribute, Steve, to you, because sometimes working with musicians is a bit like herding cats.
Yep, exactly.
No, worse.
Much worse. So I'm going to spin a few tunes. We're going to come back. We're going to have more. Ed's going to perform live for you. We're going to get into the meat and potatoes, if you will, of the big show coming up on March 1st at the Courthouse Center for the Performing Arts. But before that, we're going to have a little Chuck Berry by way of Groovie Ghoulies off of the album Buried Alive. This is their rendition of Carol.
Jump into my machine so we can move on out. I know a swinging little drum where we can jump and shout. It's not too far back up the highway, not so long a ride.
Former in-studio guest and good friend of the Tony Jones Show. You just heard from Mardi Garcia off of Wild Horse Ranch. That was Cathedral. Incidentally, she will be paying tribute to Stevie Nicks on March 1st. Before that, you heard from the Groovie Ghoulies covering the... You know, the word legendary gets thrown around a lot. However, it is apropos in this case, covering the legendary Chuck Berry Carol, the name of that track. You are tuned into the Tony Jones Show, facebook.com/Tony Jones Show. TonyJones.org is my website. Don't forget to check us out on RI Free Radio at rifreeradio.org. Steve is here from the One of 52 Hunger Network. Ed McGuirl is here. And we're talking about the big event coming up March 1st, Courthouse Center for the Performing Arts, which, if you haven't been to, it's not really my neck of the woods. However, I have been there a few times. A fantastic space for whatever. I mean, whatever you happen to be going there to do. It's an insane space. I mean, it's not your run-of-the-mill coffee house kind of, sticky floor place that I hang out at and drink Narragansett beers. I mean, this place is fantastic. We started off tonight with Mark Cutler. Mark Cutler will be paying tribute to the Stones. Ed, who are you paying tribute to?
Leadbelly.
And was there any specific reason?
Well, nobody else was going to be doing that. I didn't think. Also, of late, I've been playing a lot of 12-string guitar, and that's Leadbelly. Practically always played a 12-string guitar, and once I got a hold of a 12-string guitar, which, by the way, a fellow named John Fusick actually gave to me. We had worked together, and he hadn't been using it. And he said, "I've got this guitar that I've had for like 30 years. It's sitting in a case."
Wow.
And so I did a bunch of work on it and fixed it up, and I've been having a really good time playing 12-string. So when that show came up, I talked to Mark Von Odeldale. Mark Sven Odeldale. Like that Sven part.
Love his name.
Yeah, it's great. Mark Sven Odeldale, who is the organizer of this event. And I looked at all the different artists that people picked, and I said, nobody's picking Leadbelly. So. And Leadbelly was interesting. Pete Seeger, getting back to Pete Seeger, he actually met Leadbelly, and that's the reason Pete Seeger always played the 12-string guitar. He was, after hearing Leadbelly. And also, interestingly enough, is a person who covered 4 Leadbelly tunes was Kurt Cobain on a...
That's right. Yeah.
Yep. It was the last tune he performed acoustically on MTV Unplugged. They wanted to play after he did "Where Did You Sleep Last Night," and he felt that he couldn't match that performance. So, and he also did a couple of others with a little side band that was 2 members of Nirvana and another punk grunge band from Seattle, Washington. I forget the name of them, but. The 4 of them got together. They did 4 covers of 4 Leadbelly songs. So it's quite an interesting history. Leadbelly wrote a lot of stuff.
Yeah, it's true. They don't really. As I'm looking down the list of who will be represented, Joni Mitchell, John Lennon, Neil Young, Jethro Tull. You'll be paying tribute to Leadbelly. T-Rex will also be paid tribute to, and I think you guys get the hip points. Yeah, right. You two have the most obscure, the most hip,
Thank you.
The most hip tributes going on that night.
Mark Greenwood, isn't it Mark Greenwood that's covering T-Rex?
Yeah.
Mark Greenwood is an old friend of mine. I think that's great. I was like, wow, fantastic. Nothing easy. Let's get let's get these. Well, Leadbelly wrote Midnight Special.
Yeah.
Which that's. Who first made that? I guess was Creedence Clearwater Revival that made that. Well, one of the bands that made that fairly famous.
So Ed, if you'd like to play a live one, everybody will have a little bit of a taste of what they have in store for them at this event.
Well, sure. I think what I'll do, since I already discussed it with myself. A song that Pete Seeger made really famous and was something that he got from Lead Belly. And it's one of those sing-along type tunes that everybody hears at the end of a night. Not that this is the end of the night, but...
right before closing time.
Right, yeah. And this is called Irene Goodnight. Saturday night, I got married. Me and my wife settled down. Now me and that girl, we have parted. Guess I'll take me a stroll downtown. Irene, good night. Irene, good night. Good night, Irene. Good night, Irene. I'll see you in my dream. A guy named Ronnie Cox wrote this next verse. He was the guitar player in Deliverance, and he's done a whole bunch of other things. Well, sometimes she sleeps in pajamas, and sometimes she sleeps in her gown, and sometimes they're all in the laundry, and that's when you find me hanging around. Irene, good night. Irene, good night. Good night, Irene. Good night, Irene. I'll see you in my dream. Good night, Irene. Good night, Irene. I'll see you in my dream.
Good old-fashioned live radio, the way God intended it to be. Ed McGuirl performing live for you right here on the Tony Jones Show. We're going to hear from a great Providence local band called The Pixels now. This is their track, Je ne sais quoi.
With your amber wings gray, nest. I've had heavenly rest, but not for long. It's a shotgun truce in the South or bust. Yes, I'll be gone. If I should soil my chance, I'd jump right in with my angel and dance. If the river runs dry, pretend that it's wine, there'll be smiles all around. I'll be on my way. Maybe Santa Fe. Or maybe Texas. Scared of me, where am I on? No ghost of a man never took me down. Cause I'm bonafide, certified, qualified king of this town. No, king of this town. Clown of this town. King clown of this town. Look, my no babies. Scared of me, where am I on? No ghost of man never took me down. Yes, I'm bonafide, certified, qualified king of this town. King of this town. King clown of this town. I'm clown of this town. No, I'm no devil's child. Walk on the roads that crossing collide in the demon's nest. I've had heavenly rest, but not for long. You hear what I say? It's a shotgun truce. Maybe South or bust. Or maybe Texas.
King Sickabilly and his one-man band right here on the Tony Jones Show off of Weird Sounds from the Underground. No, Devil's Child, the name of that one. Before that, we heard from The Pixels, a band who has been in this very studio, Je ne sais quoi, the name of that song. Very rarely do we speak foreign languages here on the Tony Jones Show, except for when we play Je ne sais quoi. We have Steve in studio. He's from the One of 52 Hunger Network. Ed McGuirl's here. He will be paying tribute to Leadbelly. He will be the hippest performer on March 1st at the Courthouse Center for the Performing Arts because he will pay tribute to Leadbelly. I want to get into the meat and potatoes of this event, which is coming up. It's going to be Saturday, March 1st, and like I said, it's going to be at the Courthouse Center for the Performing Arts. That's in West Kingston. It's not too far from URI. You might not know where it is, but I bet you if you think about it, you do know where it is. It's going to start at 4 p.m. And Steve, across the board, every awesome group is going to be represented in some way or another. Rolling Stones, Muddy Waters. Ed's gonna lay it down with some Leadbelly, T-Rex, John Lennon, Neil Young. It was funny too because off the record, I was talking to your organizer about this very show. And at first, it was a little bit of a sausage party. And if you don't know that term, there was too many dudes. So Mark was able to get Mardi Garcia in there, and Patty Scott Hansen's going to be paying tribute to Lucinda Williams. So it's going to be a great night all around. Joni Mitchell will be represented. I'd be remiss if I didn't mention that Eddie's Barbecue will be available. So Steve, Ed, as you guys can know, because you're in studio with me, but people listening over the airwaves might not know, I like to eat. I'm a little bit of a foodie. And, man, Eddie's Barbecue, off the air, Steve, we're talking about supporting local businesses. If you need to go out to lunch, you want to support a local one-man business, Eddie's Barbecue, you got to track him down. Because it's just some fine food. He did a festival with us about this time last year. Oh, I can't even explain it. It's made with love.
Nice. And also, let's not forget the MC of the evening, comedian Mike Holmes, will be there too, keeping you all laughing in between sets.
And it's for the people that like to go out early. It's going to start at 4 p.m. and looks like it's going to be going for a while, right?
Yeah, I'd say probably be wrapping up sometime around midnight. And come early, come often. If this is something that you want to. If you think you want to go, you should definitely buy tickets now because this will sell out. There's no doubt in my mind. It's a pretty small venue. I'm not sure what the total fire capacity is for the venue that it's being held in, but I would only imagine it's a couple hundred, and there's no way this is not going to sell out with this lineup of performers. So go to brownpapertickets.com and search on the benefit concert for the Courthouse Center for the Arts.
It's going to be a great time. It's a great cause. Steve, if there's someone listening out there, we're talking again off the air about kind of these smaller groups. Our friend Chuckles the Clown does Metal for Meals every year. There's a lot of Toys for Tots drives. Bob Venturini does a great job every year. If there's someone out there and they're thinking about getting involved with you or getting involved in general, what would you suggest as someone who's never really done anything like this before? What would you suggest as their first step?
One of the great things about our website is we have a chronology of events dating back almost 20 years of people that have been involved in doing these benefits for us for quite a while. So go to the website, 1of52.net. That's the number 1, the word of, the number is 52.net. And go right to the chronology page, because even if you've never done anything like this, you can look at what others have done and say, I can do that. So it's really simple to participate. You can use your talent in any way you see fit to help make a difference. All we look for is one action, minimum 1 week of the year. And it's very easy on the participation side because you can say get started with a food drive at one of your gigs or whatever. It's a little more heavy duty on the commitment side because we do ask for an annual commitment. And that's where it really separates the wheat from the chaff, because people look at it and they say, oh, I could hold a food drive at one of my gigs. And we say, okay, great. But we do look for that annual commitment. And so really it's either a career or a life commitment. And that's the point where people either one or two reactions. They're either like, way too much commitment, dude, or I totally get what you're doing here. Count me in. And the beauty of that is once we plug them into one of the weeks of the year, they're pretty much there for the duration. We take it even one step further and say, and if you can't do this for whatever reason going forward, try to replace yourself in the network. And that way the whole thing will self-perpetuate.
One thing not to digress too much, but one thing I've noticed with radio over the years is that you'll meet people and they say, oh man, I've wanted a radio show my whole life. I'd love to be on the radio. Then they come down here, they do it for a couple of weeks, and they realize, holy crap, this is a lot of hard work.
Yep.
And then we never see them again.
Yes, that's exactly right.
Yeah, you got people like Ed that have been with me for a number of years and dating all the way back. Guys, John Cafferty, Steve Smith and the Nakeds.
We're talking 15 years.
Yeah, at least. Now. And, even dating back, I had unfortunately not gigging anymore, but some of our earliest gigs were like Jack Smith on the Rockabilly Planet. Guys just donating from their gigs, holding food drives at the events, and that tradition is just carrying on. And we're really excited about it. We're started in Rhode Island, obviously, and we're up and running in 22 states now. And the vision is that all 50 states will eventually have this core network of 52, all working toward the same goal of ending hunger.
I like that you're talking about people who have been with you for 15, 20 years. I'd like to use my platform to put a little push on the folks that are going to cover the next 15, 20 years. Because unfortunately, that's the situation we're going to be in.
Really, yeah. We're not going. We're definitely digressing, unfortunately.
Yeah, and thank you, by the way, for having us on, because you just hit on an important point. I mean, a lot of us, quite frankly, we've been around for a while. We're graybeards, man. And this work still needs to be needs to be done, and whatever kind of style of music happens to be, whatever you can do to contribute, and we need young blood. Again, unfortunately, the problem is not resolved.
Exactly.
We have to keep moving forward.
And music and hunger have always been, very related causes.
Yeah, ask any musician.
Yeah, exactly. Dating all the way back to the George Harrison Bangladesh concerts, right? Right up to present day and into the future. So, yes, that's a great point, Tony. And we definitely encourage young people to get on board and, take it with them up in their careers.
So if you go to Brown Paper Tickets, you can get tickets from March 1st at the Courthouse Center for the Performing Arts. Starts at 4 p.m. And if you go on Facebook, you guys are on all the social media sites. Steve, one more time, what's the .com website?
oneof52.net.
And Ed, anybody out there interested in your music, how do they get a hold of you?
I'm right on Facebook like everybody else in the world. You don't have to be young to be on Facebook. That's what I like about it.
Right? Thank you guys again.
Look up Ed McGuirl.
Keep up the good work.
Thank you, Tony.
We're going to hear, as we wrap things up, from the Benedictions. This is off of American Wasteland. I had the Benedictions in studio, and they were nice boys, so I always like to play their song, Nice Boy. So that's what's coming up as we wrap up another episode of The Tony Jones Show. Facebook.com/Tony Jones Show. TonyJones.org is my website. Look us up on Twitter. And, of course, look us up on iTunes, where you can get the Tony Jones Show podcast anytime you want. Sitting on the toilet, listen to Tony Jones. On the road, going on a road trip, listen to Tony Jones. You're driving out to West Kingston for this benefit show on March 1st, you can listen to Tony Jones. Here are the Benedictions. This is Nice Boy. Bye, everybody. Bye.
Tony. Nice.
Time I wouldn't drink it, no matter what you said it was. And there was a time that I wouldn't smoke it, no matter what you said it does. And it used to be that your sister and me, we could be left alone in the city. And it used to be that I could feel your pain and you could feel my pity. Well, I'm not a bad man, but I'm no angel, that's for sure. And I used to be such a nice boy, but I ain't like that no more. Oh no, I ain't like that no more. future, but there was none in store. Where I used to be such a nice boy, but I ain't like that no more. Oh no, I ain't like that no more. Where I used to be such a nice boy, but I ain't like that no more. Used to be an American, but now it's just not cool. And the faith you find underneath your feet, well, it's just the faith of fools. All of those east side lilacs, but those lilacs are not mine. All the dooryards growing up a little bit of peace in the summertime. I try to flag down the stars.